Welcome to the Discourse Analyzer AI Toolkit, where articles come alive. You're listening to the audio version of our article. For the full text and an interactive experience, check out the link in the description below. Interact with any selection using our AI assistant to enhance your understanding. Let's explore.
Applications of post-colonial theory in discourse analysis. The integration of post-colonial theory with discourse analysis offers a critical lens through which to explore the construction and negotiation of power, identity, and resistance within media, literature, and political discourse. This interdisciplinary approach illuminates the complex ways in which colonial legacies continue to influence contemporary narratives and practices across various domains. By applying post-colonial perspectives to media representation, literary narratives, and political discourse, researchers uncover the nuanced dynamics of othering, representation, and the politics of identity. These analyses reveal not only the persistence of colonial ideologies in modern discourses but also the sites of resistance where alternative narratives and identities are being forged. Through this exploration, post-colonial theory and discourse analysis collectively enhance our understanding of global cultural flows, power relations, and the ongoing struggle for decolonization and equity. 1. Media and representation. Post-colonial theory significantly enriches discourse analysis, especially when applied to media and representation. By examining how media texts perpetuate, challenge, or negotiate colonial legacies, post-colonial readings reveal the complexities of identity, power, and resistance within global media landscapes. Two primary applications in this area include post-colonial readings of media texts and the representation of the other in media. 1. Post-colonial readings of media texts. Objective: to critically analyze media texts, films, television shows, news reports, advertisements, and social media content, to uncover how they reflect, reproduce, or contest colonial ideologies and power dynamics. This involves scrutinizing narrative structures, visual imagery, and language used within these texts. Approaches: contextual analysis, situating media texts within their historical and cultural contexts to understand how they engage with or diverge from colonial narratives and stereotypes. Intertextual analysis, examining the connections between media texts and colonial literature or imagery, identifying continuities and transformations in the portrayal of colonial themes. Examples: analyzing Hollywood films for their portrayal of historical colonial conflicts, or scrutinizing advertisements for their use of exoticism and Orientalism in representing non-Western cultures. 2. Representation of the other in media. Objective: to explore how media texts construct the other, often people from formerly colonized nations or marginalized communities, highlighting the processes of othering that serve to exoticize, marginalize, or demonize these groups. Approaches: semiotic analysis, focusing on the signs and symbols used in media texts to represent the other, including analysis of language, visual imagery, and sound. Narrative analysis, investigating the stories told about the other in media texts, including who gets to speak, whose perspectives are prioritized, and what narratives are marginalized or silenced. Examples: examining news coverage of immigration to uncover how immigrants are othered or dehumanized, or analyzing travel shows for their portrayal of non-Western countries and cultures through an exoticizing lens. Applications of post-colonial theory in the analysis of media and representation open up critical avenues for interrogating how media texts contribute to the maintenance of colonial power relations or participate in their subversion. By focusing on post-colonial readings of media texts and the representation of the other, researchers can uncover the nuanced ways in which media contributes to shaping contemporary understandings of race, culture, and identity in a globalized world. These analyses not only enrich our understanding of media and cultural studies but also underscore the importance of critically engaging with media representations in the ongoing processes of decolonization and social justice. 2. Literature and narratives. Post-colonial theory provides a rich framework for analyzing literature and narratives, offering insights into the complex dynamics of power, identity, and resistance that characterize the post-colonial condition. When applied to literary studies, post-colonial theory, alongside discourse analysis, enables a deep exploration of the ways in which colonial legacies are both perpetuated and challenged within literary texts. This intersection is particularly fruitful in two main areas: post-colonial literary theory and the discourse analysis of post-colonial literature. 1. Post-colonial literary theory. Overview. Post-colonial literary theory examines how literature reflects, resists, and negotiates the impacts of colonialism and imperialism. It focuses on themes such as identity, migration, diaspora, hybridity, and the negotiation of cultural spaces. This theoretical lens highlights the voices and narratives that have been marginalized or silenced by colonial discourses, aiming to reclaim agency for colonized peoples and cultures. Key concepts includes notions of hybridity, Baba, the subaltern, Spivak, and Orientalism, said, which critique dominant narratives and explore the creation of new, nuanced identities and stories post-colonization. Application. Applied to the analysis of both canonical and marginalized literary works, including novels, poetry, and plays, to uncover hidden colonial biases or illuminate the ways in which texts challenge or reimagine colonial narratives. 2. Analyzing post-colonial literature through discourse analysis. Objective. To employ discourse analysis methodologies to examine how post-colonial literature engages with themes of colonialism, resistance, and identity construction. This involves scrutinizing the language, narrative structures, and characterizations within literary texts to uncover underlying power dynamics and ideological underpinnings. Approaches. Narrative analysis. Exploring the construction of narratives in post-colonial literature, including who tells the story, from what perspective, and with what implications for understanding historical and contemporary colonial impacts. Thematic analysis. Identifying and interpreting themes related to colonialism, such as displacement, cultural conflict, and the search for identity, to understand how they contribute to broader discourses on power and resistance. Examples. Analyzing the representation of colonial encounters and their aftermath in novels such as Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart, or Arundhati Roy's The God of Small Things. Examining how these works use language and narrative to critique colonialism and portray complex, hybrid post-colonial identities. The application of post-colonial theory in conjunction with discourse analysis to literature and narratives opens up profound avenues for understanding the nuanced ways in which colonial histories and legacies are woven into the fabric of literary texts. By analyzing post-colonial literature through this lens, scholars and readers alike can gain deeper insights into the enduring impacts of colonialism on cultures, societies, and identities, as well as appreciate the powerful ways in which literature serves as a site of resistance, negotiation, and reimagination of post-colonial realities. This approach not only enriches literary analysis but also contributes to the broader project of decolonizing knowledge and promoting global understanding and solidarity. 3. Political discourse and policy. Post-colonial theory's application in the realm of political discourse and policy analysis provides critical insights into the enduring effects of colonial legacies on global politics and the ways in which policies and political rhetoric can reproduce, challenge, or transform these legacies. By integrating post-colonial theory with discourse analysis, scholars can uncover the subtle dynamics of power, resistance, and negotiation present in political discourse and policy-making processes. This approach reveals how post-colonial perspectives illuminate the complexities of global politics and contribute to a more nuanced understanding of policy documents and political speeches. 1. Post-colonial perspectives on global politics. Overview. Post-colonial perspectives bring to light the influence of colonial histories and neo-colonial practices in shaping current global political structures and relations. They emphasize the unequal power dynamics between former colonial powers and colonized nations, manifested in economic dependencies, cultural imperialism, and geopolitical strategies. Key concepts. Concepts such as neo-colonialism, the North-South divide, and cultural hegemony are crucial in analyzing how contemporary global politics continues to be shaped by colonial legacies. These perspectives also focus on the agency of post-colonial states in navigating and challenging these dynamics. Application. Post-colonial theory is applied to the analysis of international relations, global economic policies, and international institutions to understand how these entities and processes are influenced by, and perpetuate, colonial power dynamics. It also explores how global issues like migration, climate change, and international conflicts are framed within political discourses. 2. Analyzing policy documents and political speeches. Objective: to critically examine policy documents and political speeches through a post-colonial lens, identifying how colonial legacies are reflected in contemporary policies and political rhetoric. This involves analyzing the language, narratives, and assumptions underlying policy documents and speeches to uncover the ways in which they construct identities, articulate relations of power, and negotiate post-colonial realities. Approaches: discursive strategies analysis. Investigating the strategies used in political discourse to legitimize policies, construct national or cultural identities, and other or marginalize certain groups or nations. Critical frame analysis. Exploring how issues are framed within policy documents and political speeches, paying attention to what is included or excluded and how this serves to maintain or challenge existing power relations. Examples: analyzing speeches by political leaders from post-colonial nations at international forums to explore how they articulate their nation's positions and resistances within a global context. Examining policy documents related to immigration to uncover how the legacy of colonialism influences contemporary attitudes and policies towards migrants. The application of post-colonial theory to the analysis of political discourse and policy documents offers vital insights into how the shadows of colonialism continue to loom over global politics and policymaking. By critically examining the language and narratives used in political speeches and policy documents, scholars can reveal the underlying power relations, assumptions, and ideologies that shape them. This approach not only contributes to a deeper understanding of the post-colonial condition in global politics but also highlights the importance of discourse analysis in uncovering and challenging the discursive practices that sustain inequitable power relations on the global stage. Through this lens, post-colonial discourse analysis becomes a powerful tool for critiquing and reimagining the political discourses and policies that shape our world. Conclusion: the convergence of post-colonial theory and discourse analysis within the realms of media, literature, and political discourse underscores the enduring impact of colonial legacies on contemporary narratives and power structures. By scrutinizing media texts and representations, literary works, and political rhetoric through a post-colonial lens, this interdisciplinary approach sheds light on how colonial discourses are both perpetuated and contested in today's globalized world. It reveals the critical role of media in constructing and disseminating narratives of the other, the transformative power of post-colonial literature in reimagining identities and histories, and the intricate ways in which political discourse reflects and reshapes post-colonial realities. This analytical journey highlights the importance of critically engaging with various forms of discourse to challenge and dismantle the structures of power that continue to marginalize and silence. Through the examination of narrative strategies, representational practices, and discursive constructions, post-colonial theory and discourse analysis together offer invaluable insights into the processes of identity formation, resistance, and the ongoing negotiation of cultural and political spaces in a post-colonial context. As such, they not only contribute to a deeper understanding of the complexities of post-colonial conditions but also underscore the potential for discourse to act as a catalyst for social change and decolonization. This interdisciplinary exploration thus affirms the significance of scrutinizing and rearticulating the narratives that shape our understanding of the world, advocating for a more inclusive, equitable, and decolonized global discourse. Frequently asked questions. How does post-colonial theory apply to media and representation analysis? Post-colonial theory examines media texts to understand how they perpetuate, challenge, or negotiate colonial legacies, focusing on narrative structures, visual imagery, and language to reveal complexities of identity, power, and resistance within global media landscapes. What are post-colonial readings of media texts? These readings critically analyze media content to uncover reflections, reproductions, or contests of colonial ideologies and power dynamics, using approaches like contextual and intertextual analysis to scrutinize narrative and imagery. How is the other represented in media according to post-colonial theory? The theory explores media constructions of the other people from formerly colonized nations or marginalized communities, using semiotic and narrative analysis to highlight processes of othering that exoticize, marginalize, or demonize these groups. What role does post-colonial theory play in literary studies? It provides a framework for analyzing literature's reflections, resistances, and negotiations of colonial impacts, focusing on themes like identity, migration, and hybridity to highlight marginalized narratives and reclaim agency for colonized cultures. How does post-colonial theory intersect with discourse analysis in literature? This intersection enables the exploration of how post-colonial literature engages with colonialism themes using narrative and thematic analysis to examine language, structures, and characterizations within texts for underlying power dynamics. How are political discourse and policy analyzed through a post-colonial lens? Analyzing political speeches and policy documents with post-colonial theory uncovers how colonial legacies are reflected in contemporary politics and rhetoric, focusing on language, narratives, and assumptions to reveal constructed identities and power relations. What key concepts are important in post-colonial analysis of global politics? Concepts like neo-colonialism, the North-South divide, and cultural hegemony are crucial for understanding the ongoing influence of colonial histories in shaping global political structures and relations, emphasizing unequal power dynamics. What methodologies are used to examine policy documents and political speeches from a post-colonial perspective? Methodologies include discursive strategies analysis to investigate legitimization strategies in political discourse and critical frame analysis to explore how issues are framed within policies and speeches, reflecting or challenging power relations. Why is post-colonial theory significant in contemporary discourse analysis? Post-colonial theory is significant because it offers critical insights into how colonial legacies influence current global discourses across media, literature, and politics, promoting a deeper understanding of identity, power dynamics, and the quest for decolonization and social justice.